Hey everybody, welcome to the Big Huntsville Podcast, the show that's all about the people, places, and the stories that make this city an amazing place. I'm your host, Carl Thomas, your favorite realtor, singer-songwriter, and all-around Huntsville cheerleader. Each week, we'll be shining a light on the community heroes who make this city tick, having some fun along the way, and sharing a few real estate tips when you least expect it. So whether you've lived in Huntsville your whole life, or you're just thinking about calling Huntsville your new home, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Big Huntsville Podcast. I'm always excited to do this in the area that I love. There are so many people that we've been able to uncover that maybe the general public doesn't know that they're out there doing the things that they're doing. And today's guest might be somebody like that for you, though it would be really hard to not know she exists, because I have put together just a list of the things that she's done, the list of her accolades and what she's a part of. And it's so long, it'd be really hard for you not to know who she is. But today, our guest is going to be this Raven Perry Beach. She is a dedicated attorney, kidney donor, and founder of the Beach Law Practice here in Huntsville, which is super duper cool. I rarely voluntarily will speak with an attorney because I can't usually afford to do that. So I get her for free today, and I'm excited about it. But just to give you a little bit of rundown of who she is and what she's about, in 2025, she was appointed as the Huntsville Kidney Patient Chair by the Alabama Kidney Foundation, coinciding with the organization's 50th anniversary. Her personal journey as a living kidney donor, which we're going to talk about that today, has fueled her commitment to kidney health advocacy. Through her leadership, she aims to enhance support for kidney patients and raise awareness about kidney disease. Perry Beach's unique blend of legal expertise and personal experience positions her as a passionate advocate for kidney health in Alabama. Thank you so much for being with us. Just call you Raven? Is that what I'm?
Yeah, that'd be okay, perfectly fine. Thank you for having me.
That's so Raven. I love it. I love it. I also like your glasses and how everything matches. I'm all about that. I think that's so cool. You look great.
I try to be trendy.
You are. You definitely are. Okay. So today we wanted to pull you on the show because you're just doing so much in the city. From the fact that you have a law practice and you are an attorney that practices, but you also work as a judge as well, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so I'm learning as I go here, which is because I wanted to ask you all these questions, but so that's like your 9 to 5, like that's your main focus, job wise or work wise, is your law practice, correct?
That's correct. That is my bread and butter.
That's your bread and butter. Okay. So where is your office located? Where are you out of?
I am actually located right downtown, about a block from the courthouse. Wow. On Jefferson Street.
Jefferson, wow, fancy.
Yeah, 107 Jefferson Street. It's a pretty cool location. I've enjoyed being there.
Well, and it keeps getting cooler. There's more and more stuff popping up around you that makes it even better. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so basically, you've been a part of a lot in our city, but just to read off a few of those. So in just to make notes here, the Catalyst Center for Business and Entrepreneurship, you were the 2023 Female Entrepreneur of the Year. So you're creating and doing things out of your skills and out of your abilities, so much that somebody decided to award you for that reason, which is really cool. That's awesome. Right. Okay, so Madison County Volunteer Lawyers Program, you were the past president of that. So past president of that program. And basically, you have, because I'm in real estate and there's nothing similar about what we do, but I'll just tell you, there are some realtors out there that, do everything focused on the money side of it. And there are some that kind of use their position in life to give back. And just from meeting you here and from reading about you to prepare for this, it seems like you kind of lean on the other side of that. I know everybody loves money, but at the same time, you're living your life giving as well in so many ways. So that would put you in that kind of program, I'm sure, to have that mentality in what you do. So that's awesome. You are the 2025 Alabama Kidney Walk honorary patient chair. So tell us about that. What is that exactly?
Well, I had a very unique opportunity to be the face of the Kidney Walk this year. And as you mentioned, it was the 50th anniversary. And so it was really about spreading awareness. Alabama, I think, is ranked #1 for kidney disease.
Wow.
And so making people aware of that, making people aware of this foundation who really steps in and supports those the people who are on the list, who potentially supports, their support system, just with financial resources, right? So helping them to get back and forth to dialysis, helping them get to doctor's appointments. And so it was a very unique experience, one that I'm grateful for. Again, just got to be the face of that. Just in spreading awareness and raising funds.
Well, let me ask you, how did this happen? How did you land, like why kidney disease? Tell me, because I know in the bio I hit on something that you were a kidney donor.
How did that happen?
How did this happen?
How did I become a living kidney donor? I'll try to give you the short version of that.
Okay.
I have an older brother who has, in the course of his life, just had some pretty serious physical ailments. And in about 2008, 2009, he was very, very sick.
Okay.
And we honestly weren't sure that he was going to make it. And he made a comeback. And he got healthy enough to be placed on the list to receive a kidney. And at the time, I actually resided in Nashville, and he lived in Birmingham. And so it didn't occur to either of us that I could potentially, go and test for this.
Wow.
And so he called me one day, and he was so discouraged. There was, this plethora of family and friends who had gone to be tested, and everyone had some type of physical ailment, some pre-existing something that caused them not to even pass the phone screening for this, right?
Sure.
And so I was young, in my late 20s, late 20s. And so I said, well, I'll try. And so I called, and I passed the phone screening, and then we learned that there was ways that my doctor in Nashville could work with his team in Birmingham to kind of run tests. They would send things, and I would go to the doctor, and they'd do what they need to do, and then we'd ship it back. Wow. And we ultimately learned that I was a perfect match, right?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so, after a course of several months, of course, there were so many testings that I had to do. And then I went down and met with the transplant team, and they gave me their stamp of approval, and we picked a day, and, the rest is history. But, I was so honored that I could be that person for him, just to give him life again,
That's amazing. That's love. That's what love causes you to do.
For sure.
I mean, that kind of stuff, that's amazing. That's incredible. So you're a part of a very small, unique group of people who have donated part of themselves to another human being. That's awesome. That's really
Believe
cool.
it or not, I the kidney donation was 2012, and since then I've only met one other kidney donor, and all of them, one other living kidney donor.
Wow. Okay. So
it does make me very, very unique.
So how did you go from there to taking because you walked through something that put your focus on kidneys. You had a family member who was sick and needed a kidney transplant. How do you step from that into getting involved in awareness and having this be your passion? How do you go from
Believe it
one
or
thing to
not,
the next?
I was not even aware that this foundation existed until maybe a year or two ago.
Wow.
And they actually contacted a one of my family members. It was Violet Edwards, who was the District 6 commissioner, and asked her about serving as the face of the kidney walk, right? And she
Wow.
says, I could do it, but I feel like there's someone that who may be better suited. And she passed the buck to me.
All
And
right.
it was so exciting. And I was
Yeah.
glad that she connected us, and again that I was able to step in and help them promote this important cause.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's incredibly important, and you are a living testament of love everywhere you go, and I think that's just amazing. I think that's a super cool thing. I've never met a kidney donor,
Right.
so I think that's it's really neat to sit face to face with somebody who is taking their love for another human, even if it's a relative, to that level. That's awesome. So, how is your brother doing?
He's doing okay.
Is
He's
he
still
all
hanging
right?
in there.
Is he
He's
taking
still
care of your
hanging in
kidney?
there. He better be, right?
He better be. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so rolling into some of the other things that you're doing, one of the big things that you do is the speaking out news legal columnists. So
Mhm.
I want to ask you about that. Exactly what are you doing? What do you when it comes to that? Because I had that as a note, and I've been wondering the whole time I've been in front of you exactly how that plays out in your life.
Well, I I got another story. I love to tell stories.
Yes,
Um,
you're good
Mr.
at it.
Williams Smothers is the owner of Speaking Out News, and I happened to meet him a few years ago, and I'm always looking for ways to give back, to educate. And I'll be honest, as an attorney, if I could just do all things for free
Ah,
and survive, I would, because I'm that passionate about helping people.
wow.
And so I sat down and talked to him, and I said, I think I would really like to become a columnist for you. I'd like to write, I'd like to educate people on laws, particularly things that impact their everyday lives.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, and so he was sold on it, but I didn't hear anything. And so I got a little nervous, and I followed up, and he said, "We're going to get to it." And I kind of just let it go. And then one day I got a phone call, and he said, "Raven, I'm ready. I'm ready for you to launch." And so that
Okay.
actually just happened this year. I was able to launch on my birthday. They ran an introductory article on me, and so I write articles every 2 weeks. And again, there are things that just impact everyday lives. I've
Yeah.
written about expungement. I've written about bankruptcies. I've written
Sure.
about what happens if I get a summons from small claims court. How do I respond to that? Just everything, everyday things. And maybe you don't have resources to be able to sit down with an attorney, but at least you got some little bites, right? So
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
have a better working understanding of what's happening and potentially how to respond to it. And that was
Okay.
really my goal.
That's fantastic. So if somebody wants to go from listening to this podcast to reading your words, where do they go
Hmm.
to see that?
Uh, I can tell you he has a widespread base, but a lot of it
Okay.
is in North Huntsville.
Sure.
And so any barber shop, any church there,
Yeah.
several other businesses, and I think a lot of the government facilities
So
actually
you
have.
can pick this up as a printed
Yep, and they are
material.
free. They are free. You just pick it up and go.
That's
So
fantastic. Wow.
yeah,
You know,
and
that
you'll
makes you
often find me on the front page, sometimes on the second page, but I'm there every other week, just spreading knowledge.
well, that's incredible. You know, I so part of my story is that I grew up in a great household, but we were the farthest thing you can get from wealthy, and so I know that there are lots of people like me that because you come from that walk of life, you just don't learn the basics on the laws that we deal with, and things happen. Life is tough. You can get in a car accident. There's anything that could bring you into a situation where legal advice is super helpful. To just know that there's somebody out there that thinks of us that don't know anything is just incredible. So you're doing a good thing just doing that. That's awesome. So outside of being a kidney donor, that's a whole nother level of you just helping the public here. And that makes you actually a really great guest on this show, because you're doing big things in Huntsville. You're doing big things to help our community. And that's the kind of people that we want to have on here, is people who give more than they take. And you're definitely one of those. Well, actually, you might be the most one of those, just because you literally are missing a body part because you are that person. So let's talk a little bit about your law firm, just so that our listeners can understand and know what makes your law firm, I guess, unique beyond the fact that you're there. And I know that makes you unique.
Right, because I'm so awesome, right?
Yeah, yes, you are. Yes, you are. So tell me, what do you think, kind of sets you guys apart?
I would say what sets me apart probably more than any law firm is the fact that I do a lot of veterans work, veterans appeals. And again, a little backstory. Straight out of law school, I went to work for the Board of Veterans Appeals. And so in that capacity, I did a lot of research, a lot of writing. I learned about, the regulations that impacted these things. And so from that stance, I was able to bring, the experience that I got there to the private sector, right? Because I was the person writing those decisions for judges. I know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So when a veteran comes to me and say, "Hey, this is the issue. I keep getting denied for this," or I'm looking to get an increased rating, I can pretty quickly identify what they need to do to get a better result. And I can't say it's 100% of the time, but more often than not, we get favorable results. And I think that's a unique area. Not a lot of people do that. And it's great to do it, in a military town where I can impact.
Absolutely. I don't know if you're like me, but sometimes I look at my life and I go, I am not here by chance. The things that I'm doing, the things that I'm specifically created to do, I feel like are designed and not by my choice a lot of times. And I think I see somebody like you, and it just like you're planted in a city that needs you. You're planted somewhere, like that specific background you have to know that side of it's not just a general law, like any other attorney would, the kind of the route. You have a unique journey behind you that gives you a knowledge base that you can't get at many other places for that reason. So
that's right.
I think that's amazing. I look at somebody like you and I go, okay, maybe there's more to the world than just us. You know what I mean? It's almost like there's got to be something out there that is putting these things into place. And I look at somebody's life like yours, and it's clear that you're where you're supposed to be.
Right.
Somebody got you out of Nashville because we needed you.
It's a story I like to tell, and I don't know how religious or not you are, but I was in Nashville and I was fighting to stay there. And then after a while, professionally, I just kind of hit a plateau. I was a single mom of two children, and just it seemed like everything started to go wrong. Everything that I touched went wrong. And I said, I think it's time. And I got here and my life just took off. And I was like, confirmation.
Yeah.
I was finally obedient. I finally came to where I was supposed to be, and look at how things turned out. Look at how many lives I was able to impact.
Yes. Yeah.
Picking up and coming here.
Well, I'm not religious. I am a Christ follower because I am a mess. My life is imperfect and I need help. And I cannot do anything that I get to do on my own. And so when I get in front of somebody like you, I mean, it almost strengthens my faith, because I see that you were planted. When you read the words that you are beautifully and wonderfully made, when you look at somebody's life like yours, that your specific background gives you the ability to help people, and you're actually doing it. That it's really hard to argue intelligent design. I don't know. I'm not here to preach to anyone. I'm just here to say that when I speak to Raven, I feel God is real. That's just where we are right now. So sorry to get off on that track. So to jump right back into some of that giving that you're doing, tell me about the free legal resources. If somebody has like an inability to pay, like how would that work in your line of work? Because that sounds like something that's like an oxymoron, just an impossible.
Right.
So tell me
And
about it.
so, like I said before, if I could do all things for free, I would, but I have a family to support.
Absolutely, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I have to pay my mortgage and,
Yeah.
feed my children. Those things are
Good.
important. But I also, again, I like to help people.
Yeah.
And so an organization that I actually sought them out when I moved here is the Madison County Volunteer Lawyers Program.
Okay.
Yeah, I volunteer with them. They have all types of clinics, family law clinics, estate planning clinics, probate clinics. If you
Yeah.
name it, they have it. And so I enjoy working with them. Often, if people give me a call and I feel like they're a better candidate, maybe they're indigent or just without enough funds, and I think it's, a good fit, I will refer them to this particular organization. I had the honor of sitting on the board and
Yeah.
ultimately serving as the first Black president of that board in
Wow.
2021. But again, I don't sit in that role. I actually rolled off the board this year, but I continue to work with them because I believe in what they do and I know the importance of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and just because of that unique way of being a part of helping the public, it's almost like you're distributing hope. Because if somebody is in a situation where finances are tight and they get in a legal situation where an attorney is needed. If you've ever gone through anything in life similar to that, you are in trouble because the first thing you're hit with is a retainer because that person has to be paid for their time. You know what? A lot of times, attorneys, doctors, folks that medical, they get a bad rap because of how much things cost. But do you know how much education costs? I mean, there is a reason for why these things are expensive, and they're expensive because you need somebody who knows it in and out. And but just the fact that you are able to distribute hope in a way where somebody that might be in that situation would be just about hopeless. That's incredible. That's a really, really great thing. So to roll from that into talking a little bit about the information you share in the column. So when you're sharing information in the column, I guess you're part of your goal would be to pick those subjects that somebody who can't afford to grab this information. This would be a great way to get it to them. So, okay. So whenever you choose a topic, what is that usually a specific? Because I know I'm in real estate. I deal with real estate attorneys a lot of times, and they just know real estate. Like they might have a general information of law outside of that, but they are focused on real estate. Do you stick within in your columns on like what you like a certain? I have no idea how to ask this.
So I think your question is, do I stick to my areas of law? Do I only write about my areas of law? Not necessarily.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So you're not writing about the veteran stuff specifically.
Sometimes I do. I mean, I've written about areas of law that I practice, but my goal really is to educate people about the law in general. So sometimes I'll pick a topic that I actually have to study and read up on myself.
Yeah.
And that's okay, right? Because I get to learn. And that's exciting for me. I guess I'm a bit of a nerd in that way.
Okay. All right.
So actually, my very first article after the introduction was about, I'm missing my word. The executive orders. What do those mean? And how do they impact us? And are they laws? Are they not laws? And I like, to focus on trending things
Oh,
as
that's a
well.
hot point for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great idea to write on
Yeah. And
that.
people were
Yeah.
like, oh, this was great. Thank you for explaining that to us in a way that we could understand it.
Well,
Right.
in all of your success, you clearly, and I haven't, but you clearly haven't lost your ability to communicate with just
Right.
about anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You have a million times more education than I do, but I'm telling you, you have a really great way of communicating. So I can imagine that if you put that in word form on print, it would probably result pretty good, I would think, just
Right.
because of that. So
Right.
you've got an event coming up where
I
you're
do.
you're actually going to be sharing some information that just average Joe like me would not know, and
Mm-hmm.
it's about expungement. Can you tell me about that?
So actually, this is a quarterly event, takes
Okay.
place every 3 months. This was a partnership with District 6, my office, and the Madison County Volunteer Lawyers Program.
Okay.
Um, the next one is June 16th from 5 to 7. You come in, you get to sit down one on one with an attorney, and we basically evaluate your criminal history, determine what can be expunged, what cannot.
Sure.
We assist you in filling out the paperwork for that. Um, if maybe you're without funds, because I will say the filing fees for expungements is pretty steep. It's
Right.
$500.
Yeah.
So we will even assist in filling out, some type of indigent paperwork to
Okay.
get that signed off, and so we get those fees waived for you. But the clinics themselves are absolutely free.
Yeah.
Um, it was kind of my baby, born as a product of sitting as the president of the VLP a few years ago. I was inspired by a classmate from high school, just a post. Someone was very, very discouraged about the voting process. And he said,
Sure.
oh, there's people out there who can help. And I was like, well, what about me? What can I do to help? And so um, the very first expungement clinic was born and has picked up, and it continues quarterly.
Wow,
So,
that's fantastic. So just so everyone understands, so there are times whenever you have a past, because we all have a past. Let's get real here. We all got a past, but some of our pasts are a little rougher than others, and there are times whenever you can go back and erase some of the history that harms you on
correct.
job applications and things like that, and
And
that's what we're
yeah,
talking
I
about
mean,
here in
that's
expungement.
correct. That's correct.
So
Some of those convictions are barriers to better
yeah.
paying jobs, to quality housing. So it
Yeah.
directly impacts you, your children, your families. And so we just like to assist you kind of get a clean state if possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It's a second chance. It's
Right.
it's a it's a uh, maybe breaking the chains of something that could hold you down the rest of your life. And a lot of people probably don't even realize that might be an option for them.
Right.
So this sounds like something really interesting. So if the public wants to get involved or be a part of that or attend, how exactly would they do that?
Um, if the public wanted to get involved, well,
Well,
I
not
will
get
say that,
involved. You are involved because you know what you're doing. I'm
right.
just saying if they wanted
So
to
if they wanted
attend.
to come to a clinic,
Yes,
is that your
yes.
question? Okay. Well, the address to the clinic is 3210 High-Low Circle, and that's
Okay.
at the District 6 Commissioner's office.
Okay.
The next one is June 16th, and then again, we do them quarterly
Okay.
after.
Okay.
So
So if they want to mark their calendars, they're marking June 16th, and that's where
that's
they're
right,
headed.
from
So
5 to 7.
that is awesome. Well, Miss Raven, you are doing so many incredible things. You might be the most impressive person I've had in front of me on this show so far.
Oh,
So I
thank
appreciate
you.
you taking the time to talk to me and to share. You clearly have a heart for what you do, and I am glad to know that in my city. There is an attorney out there who also carries that heart in their job that they're doing. So thank you for that, and thank you for being on. And if anyone wants to support her in her endeavor to pay her mortgage, definitely, I would love for you to go and check out her law practice. That is the Beach law practice in Huntsville downtown on Jefferson, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, and you can actually, it's really easy if you just type in beach law on Google, they pop up pretty fast. So you can go check out her website and read her bio and do all that fun stuff too. I was checking it out before we got on here today. But anyways, thank you again for being with us. Thank you all for watching and learning about another amazing person doing big things in our city. We have so many, and I'm just so glad to be a part of that. So thank you for checking it out, and we will catch you next time with someone else doing big things, just like Raven is. Have a great day.
Thanks for tuning in to the Big Huntsville Podcast. If you've enjoyed the stories, the laughs, and maybe learned a little something new about our amazing city, remember, Huntsville isn't just a place, it's a community. And we've got some of the best folks around. So if you like today's episode, please don't forget to subscribe and share it with a friend. And if you got a local hero or story you think we should highlight, hit me up. I'd love to hear about it. Until next time, I'm Carl Thomas. Keeping it fun, keeping it real, and always keeping it big here in Huntsville. Catch you later.